Well, something eerie just happened in the United States of America. A mysterious fog has just swept through a portion of California, affecting over 13 million people. Right now, scientists are baffled and officials are scrambling for answers. I've got a lot to share with you in today's broadcast. Not only that, but I've also got NASA honing in on a particular issue, specifically our Earth's magnetic sphere, that I think needs some attention as well. I've got a lot to share with you. Let's start first with this mysterious fog that is going on. This is on the Daily Mail. Mysterious 400-mile stretch of radiation fog blankets 13 million Americans. It goes on to state, a massive cloud of radiation fog has been blanketing California's Central Valley for days, leading to travel warnings and air quality alerts for 13 million people. More than 20 counties across a 400-mile stretch of the state have been hit by the phenomenon, which occurs when ground cools rapidly after sunset, releasing heat back into the air and creating a dense, low-lying fog. While it is unrelated to nuclear radiation and generally should not endanger human health, officials have warned that radiation fog can cause extreme risk for driver visibility and can severely impact air quality by trapping local pollutants close to the ground. The National Weather Service has also been sending out alerts about the dense fog impact in Central Valley since last week, calling the thick, low-level radiation blanket a high transportation risk. California's Bay Area, Sacramento Valley, San Joaquin Valley have all been affected by this phenomenon. Major cities, including Sacramento, Fresno, Bakersfield, Oakland, and Stockton, have been among the most severely affected over the last week, impacting more than 2 million people in those communities alone. Now, what exactly are the causes of this? Well, I've got a lot more to share with you, but I got to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video, Noble Gold Investments at lisahavengold.com. Look, as we wrap up 2025, one thing is clear. Uncertainty isn't temporary. It's unfortunately the world that we live in right now. Waiting for things to get back to normal isn't a plan. It's a gamble. And that's why Noble Gold Investments is there to help Americans just like you protect what they've built, like real gold and silver that hold value when everything else falls apart. So this holiday season, remember, the best gift that you can give your family isn't necessarily a gift under the tree. It's a peace of mind. Give Noble Gold Investments a call today at 1-877-646-5347 and talk to one of their specialists. And by the way, mention my name because they are giving away this amazing 1-ounce silver holiday coin that you see on the screen here. This thing is beautiful, and you can get up to 10 of them with any new or qualified account. So make sure you bring up my name or go to lisahavengold.com, fill out that information, click send me my free wealth protection kit, and you'll get a free wealth protection kit. So check it out today. It's better to be safe than sorry and get your hands on tangible gold and silver. By the way, there's always a risk to investing. There's never a guarantee. If you want more info, click that more button or click the link in the description box below. All right. So what exactly could be caused or could happen to the human body if you're impacted by this mysterious fog? Well, in that same Daily Mail article, it says this, and I'm going to get into pictures and all of that in just a moment, but here it says, even non-drivers can be seriously affected by radiation fog, which does not create pollution by itself, but acts like a lid on a pot that keeps pollution from being carried away by the wind. When the fog forms, a layer of warmer air sits on top of the cold, foggy air near the ground. This lid traps car exhaust, smoke from fireplaces, factory fumes, and farm dust right where residents are breathing it in. Right, the tiny particles called PM 2.5 get stuck in this trapped air and can transfer into a person's lungs and even their blood. Obviously, this is going to have some repercussions. Breathing in the air on fog days can make asthma attacks, coughing, and wheezing worse, especially for children and the elderly. And as a result of all of this, by the way, hospitals are seeing more emergency room visits in the area. But let's take a look at some of the pictures and information that people in California have shared. And here is the radiation fog that you can see on the screen there, right blanketing nearly a good portion of California. Here's some alerts, the high transportation risk that were put out for people in California. In fact, here are some pictures of the fog. In fact, if you're in California, I'd love to hear your comments below regarding all of that. And here's just another photo. You can see San Francisco Bridge there also blanketed. But here's an interesting part. A guy puts out a video and he is talking about this fog, but he's saying it smells very toxic. And well, I'm going to just let you watch it for yourself. Here's what he has to say about the fog.
All right, so it's crazy foggy right now. But that's not the weird part, okay? Like, number one, it's weird because as it gets later in the day, fog should lighten, dissipate, and it's really not. But the weirdest part is the taste and smell. It smells like after you set off a bunch of fireworks, and like the taste of the air is, I mean, the only word I can think of is toxic. It's super weird. And so I'm going for my walk and it's kind of worrying me a little bit. Let me know if you guys are experiencing.
So there you have it. But like they said, it's acting like a lid on a pot, and all that stuff is not going away and dissipating. Instead, you're breathing in these fumes, which can cause health issues like breathing and wheezing and asthma, especially for the elderly. That's what's going on right now in California. So interesting. I'd love to get your comments on it. I haven't heard much from the media on all of that. But meanwhile, while it's not life-threatening or anything of that nature, these are just alerts given by our professionals of what it can do. Scientists are also getting really anxious and worried about the magnetosphere, a pothole, if you will, in space. Now, I did a report on this on Restricted Republic. Hopefully you guys have seen it. Hopefully you're on Restricted Republic. If not, you want to get there. But I talked about this already, and I want to briefly kind of retouch on it in today's broadcast because there's more information. But scientists are really getting anxious about a pothole in space. And basically, kind of summing it up a little bit, we have a magnetic field, thankfully, right? But there's a problem with it. There is a pothole in space. Now, they're calling this anomaly, South Atlantic Anomaly, or SAA, and it's not a physical dent, right? It's a region in the skies between South America and Africa where our magnetic field is weaker than it is around the rest of the planet. This weakness is not life-threatening. It would have to be way more significant to threaten the planet's surface, but it is an issue for the craft we've launched into space. In other words, some of the satellites can be affected. The area is so impactful right now that a lot of the satellites, they have to turn off while going through this anomaly. And you can see the anomaly right there, the red part there of the Earth's magnetic field is where it's weaker. Now, if this continues to get weaker, which NASA is now monitoring it and actively monitoring it, then we could run into problems, as in an unlivable condition below that spot, as the hole could grow bigger. These are all things that NASA is keeping an eye on. But as a result of all of that, there are some things happening in the northern skies. And I brought this up because of that hole, I believe, and other things that are going on. We're seeing a massive increase in people being able to view the northern lights. This is not normal. How many times in your life here in the United States, right, have you seen the northern lights? Probably 0 to none, unless it's been the past couple of years, which there's been a massive increase. In fact, very rare, and I want to say never before in 10 states, but very, very rare. We have this right here on Martha Stewart. Northern lights could glow over 10 states tonight. Here's where to look up. And this was published on December 4th, just happened, right? 10 states were then able to see it. You were able to see it unlike you were able to see it ever before. And this could be a result of the Earth's magnetic sphere being weakened, right? We've got that. And then we also know they were spotted in Texas as well. Here's a story on that, and many other places, but I think 5 or 6 events over the past few years, which is not normal. These kinds of things are rare. And speaking of rare, we also got another issue happening with the sun. And by the way, in the Bible, it talks about increased intensity in the sun, moon, and stars. And I think this is exactly what we're seeing. But anyway, take a look at this. This is on space.com. just another alert. I figured while I'm on the topic of space and fog, I figured I'd bring all this together. But where solar flare caused radiation in Earth's atmosphere to spike to the highest levels in nearly 20 years, researchers say. Now, some of these levels were so high that it could potentially be harmful to pregnant women. Radiation levels in the Earth's atmosphere rose to the highest level in nearly 2 decades in November after a rare solar super flare plummeted the planet with high-speed particles from the sun, right? And it talks about the classification of all of that and how harsh it was. But apart from being the most intense solar flare in 2025 to date, the X-class flare also unleashed a stream of high-speed protons and other energetic particles toward our planet, something very few solar flares do, right? This year, about 20 X flares hit Earth, but only one from November 11th was accompanied by the high-speed proton stream. That day, when Earth-based monitors began showing elevated radiation levels, researchers released several stratospheric balloons with sensors to see how radiation levels evolved through the atmosphere. And here's what they found, right? They found that at altitudes where most commercial aircraft traveled, around 40,000 feet, radiation briefly rose to levels 10 times higher than the normal cosmetic ray-related background. If a pregnant woman were to be exposed to such radiation levels for more than 12 hours, she would have exceeded a limit officially considered as safe for a fetus. So, I guess God was right when he said, in the latter days, we shall see signs in the sun and moon and stars. If you're a Christian, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If not, it's time to get right with Jesus. But either way, what's interesting, if you're a multi-millionaire, billionaire, a lot of those people are out there building bunkers. One could suggest that they're building the bunkers because they can and because they have a lot of money. Or another could suggest that they know something that we don't, and they're building these bunkers because they are watching the signs in the sun and the moon and the stars, and they're preparing for something, be it a pole flip. There's lots of theories on a pole flip. A pole flip is not a conspiracy, by the way. It's something that will happen and is happening. People debate on whether or not it will be quick or happen over a long period of time. Honestly, we don't have all the answers on that, and time will tell. But we know what the Bible says regarding all of that. But it's interesting to say the least. We've got all these things going on all at the same time. Well, either way, I'd love to get your thoughts, comments, and concerns on the entire thing. Can't wait to hear from you, because ultimately, you decide. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.